when your life's been put on hold for far too long, when the sorrow and despair is growing strong, there is always something good to be obtained from breaking loose and leave the things that kept you chained. So when you find the strength to really shed your skin, all you really need to do is search within.
The biggest wish I had for my birthday this year was to finally go on a hike with my entire cow herd again. Since we faced many difficulties during the last years, our hikes became less and less frequent, and our last hike took place in December. But luckily, for my birthday, we got visited by an amazing group of carefully selected family members and friends who were ready to head out into the forest for a real adventure. After we had a little picnic together, we checked in with the herd, and especially with Orsos, the oldest ox, who is not always compatible with our visitors. You can't see it in these clips, but actually the whole group is sitting next to me here, and if you look at Orsos, you can see him moaning and chewing and licking. These are all signs of him being challenged to stay calm, but releasing energy and tension in response to our invitation to become calm with us. So, after a little while, we decided to just head out. The very first thing that the cows did was eating a lot of the fresh grass. I fed them only hay before because their pasture had not properly grown yet, and they were so delighted to finally enjoy some juicy greens. Right afterwards, they made an insane celebration with jumping, running and shouting. Yes, cows can shout. But we couldn't film that because we were all a little bit busy with making sure to stay out of their way. Hopefully I will be able to share scenes like that in the future with you. But nevertheless, I hope that you can feel some of their powerful energy through the screen. For me, it is one of the most amazing feelings to see my animals to live up to their true nature. Because yes, against common beliefs, cows are actually not at home on pastures. For sure, they do enjoy grass, but the forest is much closer to their primal habitat. And also, they naturally hike many kilometers every day. They are really wired for that and need a lot of movement in order to keep their claws and joints healthy and prevent overweight. Another interesting thing to know is that the fact that they seem to pee and poop everywhere is also connected to this natural alignment. Cows are not meant to stay at one place for long. So actually it serves them and the rest of the ecosystem best if they spread their dung widely. In that way, they actually are a huge benefit if they are part of a well-balanced ecosystem. In our modern meat and dairy industry, that honestly doesn't go as well and is causing quite some difficulties. But it's not the cows who are responsible for that. And even though I hope for a time when my cows will be free to roam every day, I'm so grateful for every opportunity I get to enjoy these kind of adventures with them. As I told you in the beginning, my ox Orsos is often not compatible with other humans, and in the past we had some serious issues with him overstepping boundaries, which created dangerous situations. That is why I was very careful in choosing whom to take on this hike with us. because the most important ability to have when dealing with him is the ability to set clear, non-violent boundaries. And while that is a challenge for most people in general, it is a special challenge when being faced by someone who is as massive and strong as Orsos. I would like to show you this moment of Isabel, Hannah and Orsos. If you look closely, you can see how Isabel is using her stick in order to communicate a boundary with Orsos. She's not using it to hurt him in any way, but only to hold a boundary around herself. Orsos does understand that well, and they move on peacefully. But a moment later, he's stepping towards Hannah in a way that feels uncomfortable to her. She's reacting a little less calm than Isabel did, but does set her boundary without hurting him as well, and created more space between them. A moment later, he came into her space again, and you can see her repeating the process. I think it is visible that Orsos did not have any bad intentions in that moment, but since we experienced a few dangerous situations with him in the past, we are all very careful. That is why I decided to take him on the leash for the rest of our hike after he repeated the same procedure with my friend Julie just minutes later. And actually, that led me to an amazing experience, because even though he usually always walks free on our hikes and has not had a particular intense training, he was willing to follow me and sustain our connection even though he could have ripped the leash out of my hand in any moment. Yes, I've also been using some treats in order to make this a pleasant experience, but trust me, he would not follow me for so many kilometers through a forest where basically everything is a juicy snack just for a handful of carrots. The main reason for him to cooperate with me was that he honestly enjoyed following me, and that is such an honor. In order for that feeling to occur, I had to step into the role of a peaceful leader. I could not just follow my own agenda expecting him to surrender to my will. I had to be just as willing to cooperate as he was. His desires were not generally less important than mine. If he wanted to eat, I had to wait. If he wanted to engage with the other cows, I had to wait or step away. In moments when I knew that he wanted to explore something and needed space, I had to let go of the leash, like in this situation, where he wanted to sniff at a place where hunters are often gathering and there's blood of dead animals on the ground. Cows do always react very intensely when they encounter signs of death, and he needed some space for that. So I walked over to the little hut instead, because I saw that someone had closed the door and I wanted to make sure that none of the cows would try to enter like they usually do. Another situation is this. Here Orsos decided to scratch himself at this structure that got built by hunters as well. He definitely has the power to destroy something like this in seconds, and often he really enjoys doing that. I knew that there was no considerable way to force him to not do it. Instead, I only talked to him and said that I would like him to leave this standing, and eventually he continued to follow me. I can honestly say that there is no one who taught me more about true leadership than my cow family. That is not only because they are physically so much stronger than me that it is quite impossible to dominate them on that level, but also because cows naturally do create social structures that are not mainly dependent on physical strength. Usually, the main leader of the herd is the oldest female cow. She owns the status of a matriarch. She might or might not be a good fighter, but usually she is not often entangled in physical power struggles. The reason why the herd is following her is because she has more knowledge, clarity, and compassion than others. I can clearly see that in our matriarch, which is Millie. She is such a gentle yet clear leader that taught me more than I will ever be able to put into words. Being a leader does not equal being in control of others. What you need is a clear direction and a close connection that welcomes others to follow you. To be a leader, you don't have to diminish the power of others. You have to gather the power of everyone. It is about actually creating something that is bigger than ourselves. The best leaders are those who enable everyone to contribute their fullest potential And in order to do so, those who follow have to be free. In order to be a leader, you don't have to be the biggest or strongest one. But by being a leader, you can unite the power of those around you, so that you are able to be bigger and stronger than any of you could be alone. And most importantly, being a leader should not feel like a lonely job. Being a leader does not equal doing everything on your own. It really is about the ability to create something together. And I'm so grateful to everyone who participated in the creation of this beautiful hike. That does not mean that it wasn't complicated from time to time. Actually, 2 of the cows, Molly and Mia, were in the heat and created quite some chaos since their minds were a little distracted. And one time, Mia even initiated that the majority of the herd ran off into an unwanted direction. In that moment, I had to stay and fixate the cows that we had caught, and I had to trust my human companions to bring the rest of the herd back. They did an amazing job and really proved me that I do not need to hold on to the desire to control a situation like this. And it actually was quite magical because there was an elderly couple that appeared to be exactly at the right place in the right time and helped to guide the cows back on track. It still got a bit messy when we met other humans, and especially humans with dogs, but together we managed to deal well with it all, and we even had a few very calm and friendly encounters. Throughout the hike, I could really feel how we grew together as a herd, and I can say for myself that I learned so many valuable lessons. I learned especially much about my desire to create functioning structures that are able to support the mission I'm on. As someone who developed a lot of social anxiety throughout my life, it often appears to be easier to do things on my own. But the truth is, that is not a sustainable way to live, and it is for sure not the right tool in order to enable a movement that is bigger than myself. Whenever I'm alone, I can't give more than I have, but I myself am nothing more than a tiny piece of life. That is enough. No one is supposed to be more than that, but I won't make a big change. In order to move the collective energy of our human race, I need to be as connected as possible. And there truly is no bigger gift for me right now than the experience of being together with other humans without needing to abandon myself, as it is required in so many of our social structures. So I really want to thank Isabel, Hannah, Luke, and Julie, who, by the way, has an own YouTube channel and an even bigger herd of rescued cows than I do. I will put the link to her channel in the description. Thank you all for your bravery, your openness, compassion, responsibility, your skills, and your presence. And another enormous thanks goes out to my uncle Pauli, who joined us with 4 different cameras in order to be everywhere at the same time and capture our hike in the most wonderful way. Your commitment was impressive and so inspiring. And of course to all of you guys who are supporting us in so many different ways. I really find myself enjoying welcoming others to support me and take on things I used to think I would have to do all by myself. And what I'm learning is that if I do trust the right people with the right things, there actually is no one who loses. We all gain and are able to create in much more powerful ways. I am so excited about everything that is ahead for us, and just now, as I'm sitting here editing this video over the course of so many nights, because I usually am too busy and distracted during the days, I honestly could not be more excited about finding more ways to support this mission and my animal family, so as to make it less reliant on me alone. And in case you'd like to become a part of our support system too, please check out the description of this video. I will share all the important links there. Thank you so much everyone for joining us and taking the time to listen. I'm still learning how to use this social media platform in the best way, and I'm often struggling with the creation of content, but I really hope to meet you here soon again. And until then, I want you to remember that every one of us is both a follower and a leader at the same time. Choose whom you trust with your energy and where you direct it wisely.